Well, all right, we're over here having a pretty good laugh. I actually have concluded my day about 15 minutes ago, and I'm trying to leave Bad Guy Inc. Studios over here. Start talking with the production team, and we're having a pretty good laugh over here, and it has to do with Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou trying to find one another through the media. Right? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So these two guys, with absolutely no shame, these two guys, if we just rewind the tape 2 years ago, are bashing one another and going back and forth on social media, and it was the biggest fight that our industry could have made. Not just the UFC. It was the biggest fight that our industry could have made. It was a big deal. That didn't last very long, though. It simmered real fast. But at any rate, it existed and it turned into other things. I mean, Francis Ngannou was a very key component to Jon Jones becoming champion of the world. Jon Jones sat out 3 years of his career to try to put on size, to move to the heavyweight division because he was envisioning having to deal with Francis Ngannou. And Jon Jones, to become head, had to remove Francis Ngannou. He was planning to do that through combat. They ended up doing it through some paperwork, but it's a meaningful part of the story. And I give you that recap, and most of you guys don't know anything that I just said to be true. You guys, in 2 years, have already completely forgotten that for Jon to take over the division, they got rid of Francis, and to get rid of Francis, they did it in the back room through paperwork, as opposed in the ring through combat. You've already forgotten. It's just the way this sport works, and it goes very quickly. But now these two are pretending they want to fight one another. And frankly, they didn't do a very good job of pretending they wanted to fight each other when they were both under contract and could fight each other. They kind of played the game a little differently. Kind of knew they had something, and they kind of knew this was a big fight and a hard fight, and Jon was the light heavyweight champion and hadn't lost, and Francis was the heavyweight champion. They kind of played this game a little bit. No hard feelings, but that's the way that it was done. So now here we are 2 years later with an inability to fight each other, but now feinting a willingness to fight each other. Okay. Now, all I want, right? Like, all I want for me to be the happiest guy in the world is for them to be allowed to do it. Because there's few things that I enjoy more than an unmarketable, non-star pretending he is just that. And people like to do that. They like do it in our industry. Well, they'll go around, they'll find a guy that's a fake black belt, and then they'll like tie him in a knot and put it on a video, or they'll do farce valor, and some guys like claiming to be a colonel has served 2 tours, and they'll prove that he's not, and they'll like they get this thrill from proving somebody wrong. I get that same evil thrill from pretend box office draws falling on their face at the box office. I enjoy that. So what I would really like is if those two are given the ability to fight. Now, I'm not going to do it for them. I'm not saying some promoter comes in and grabs them and works out a contract in the back and loses all their money, then ends up stiffing the guys like happened with, was it Diaz and Masvidal? I'm not talking about somebody going bankrupt, writing bad checks for something that's unsustainable. I'm talking about these two morons that think that they're interesting, going out and figuring it out. We'll give you a carve-out. Jon Jones, you may fight Francis Ngannou under any rules you choose. One guy, one fight, one time. You gotta come back to us. The same thing with Francis. One fight, one time, one guy is Jon. But here's the deal. If I give you the carve-out, you have to actually do the fight. So when you guys end up scrapping in your backyard, because you literally don't even know where to rent the cage. You literally would not even know where to go to get a commission certified sanctioned cage. So when you guys are fighting in the lawn in your backyard, in front of nobody, posting clips unedited to your Twitter page, I will find that interesting. So you have Francis today. And I don't wish ill for either of these guys. I'm giving these guys a hard time because they can handle it, right? Francis is beautiful and baddest man in the world, and Jon is currently recognized as the baddest man in the world. But you do have a question. Francis Ngannou walked Kamaru Usman onto the UFC stage today. What do you do with that? And you probably would sit back and tell me nothing, that you would do nothing with that. Okay, fair enough. But the Rams would, and the Lakers would, and the Patriots would. A member of the Screen Actors Guild would. The guy driving the Coca-Cola truck that works for Pepsi would. The guy in the Burger King hat showing up to get a quarter pounder with cheese would. They would all do something about it. So what would you do about it? The only commodity that a fighter has is his performance. There is nothing else that a fighter has that you can monetize. So when you have a name, image, and likeness, and that name, image, and likeness walks across your competitor's stage on their cameras that they own the rights to, and by the way, they've sold, called a weigh-in show, and it is sold to the worldwide leader known as ESPN. When your guy walks across that stage, you now have the right to release him. Would you? It would be a very cold thing to do. It wouldn't be received extremely well. But it's been done. And it's been done by our current leader. Now, I could tell you the story. Involves a good friend of mine, Jake Shields, as a matter of fact. Shows up to a UFC, gets grabbed by the president, gets a selfie, gets posted online. You either know that story or you don't know that story, but what I'm sharing for you, who's cooler? In the cool guy business, which is all that we're in, you don't know who punches or kicks better or harder or more skilled. You don't know who sacrificed more, whose mother fed them better. You don't know any of these things. It's the cool guy business. Who comes across on camera cooler than the other guy? So I will ask you, is it the dude that takes the prettiest girl to the prom? Or is it the dude that breaks up with the prettiest girl right before the prom? If those are your two choices, the dude that walks in with the prom queen on his arm, is he cooler, or is it the guy that dumped her last week? It's a very interesting thing. It was very interesting to me when I saw Francis come out. And this is how our industry goes. I understand these things, and I understand that these guys are close. I understand that Kamaru Usman had every right to invite him, and Francis had every right to show. I get these things. But I'll also share with you from a legal standpoint, he took his name, image, and likeness, and he gave it to the rival competitors for free. And they took it and they sold it. So, if you want it out of the Francis business, which is the last business that you want in, right? You're not making money with Francis. You're just covering you're covering losses. You've got an ability to get out. Would you take it? I'm asking you straight up. Are you a cold-hearted businessman or aren't you? I'm just asking you. What would you do? What would you do? Would you place a phone call? Would you put out a press release? Would you scold him publicly? Would you act like it's no big deal? Would you release him? You could release him and sign him back tomorrow. You would have all of these things are on the table. And I'll tell you what the Lakers would have done, and I'll tell you what the Bulls would have done. I'll tell you what the Astros would have done. I'll tell you what the Oakland A's would have done. I mean, we could play this game. Francis says he wants to fight Jon Jones. Jon Jones says he wants to fight Francis. He does not want to fight Tom Aspinall. Jon Jones will either fight Aspinall or he will be stripped of his title, which would allow him to be released from his entire contract. Francis has a promotion company. He's allegedly on the board of directors to a massive fight company for an entire continent. I'm just sharing for you. If you ask Francis, he's a fight expert. So putting on a fight should be no problem. He owns a fight company, for goodness sakes. It's the dumbest thing. It's the dumbest thing in the world. And of course, we don't want anything to happen. Of course, nothing is going to happen. The larger point is he's not even aware that it's eligible to happen. If he was released today by the PFL, he'd be shrugging his shoulders like this. The big expert, who's a board of directors, who owns a promotion company, doesn't even know the rules of name, image, and likeness.